Today I want to introduce to you the story of Nora. She is an immigration guardian angel, if you will, who is the legal guardian of 1,305 children. 30 are under her sole care, 5 she has adopted, and she calls them the immigration orphans.
Nora Sandigo is an immigration activist and legal guardian of over 1,200 migrant children.
I miss you so much.
Children like the ones living in this trailer in Homestead, Florida, many of whom crossed the border just last week. Some of the other kids in her care are U.S. citizens, but the parents all undocumented, which is why they sign over legal custody to Nora in case ICE tears them apart.
They need everything, like food, roof, everything, but especially love.
An emergency backup for fear the kids will end up in a government shelter or foster care.
They need attention, they need support. It's like they need like a second mama.
Nora gives them just that, visiting migrant children throughout the region and even housing those separated from their parents before placing them with a relative. 11-year-old Yamile knows exactly what to do if she gets separated from her mom.
She told me to open the door, just call Nora, and to come and to pick me up.
Nora says the impact of separation on a child is devastating.
It's so painful, it's terrible. The way that they are separated from mama and papa, one moment to the other, and that feeling to be alone, that nobody cares.
An immigrant from Nicaragua, she knows firsthand the desperation of many parents who bring their kids over.
It's not because they want to come, it's because they have no choice.
Although she's been doing this work for over a decade, the fear and confusion growing in the immigrant community since President Trump took office.
We need a president with compassion, with love, with respect for the human rights, with love for the children, and respect for the family.
Nora says she has seen a spike in the number of children that have been given to her since President Trump took office, 500 kids. And even during our interview, Mika, she got a phone call. We had to interrupt the interview, and she said, 4 pequeños, 4 little ones. I can't pick them up right now. Give me a second. I'm going to finish this interview, and then I'll go pick them up.
So they sign them up. They sign their children away to her care.
Imagine,
they're so frightened.
As a mother, telling your 6-year-old, your 7-year-old, memorize this number. Keep it in your pocket. Just like that little girl in the ProPublica audio that we heard who had memorized her aunt's telephone number because these kids already know that this can happen to them. The fear that they are fleeing from in Central America is so much greater that these parents would rather sign their children over to a stranger.
And that is, first of all, this is part of the bigger picture. This has been going on for years, this part of the story, and it really gives everybody a sense of how complicated this debate is, how deeply human it is, and how heart-wrenching it is. And what America is about is everything that this woman who you profiled is about. I mean, she's about the most beautiful person you can imagine doing what she's doing to try and help these children. We were talking before we went back on the air just about the process. I mean, even for you, it is, and if you have means, it's still an incredibly difficult process.
I am a legal immigrant, the kind of immigrant that Donald Trump claims he wants. I have been in this country for 10 years, and I'm still not a citizen. The amount of resources and time that it takes that thankfully I have because I have worked my butt off in this country to be able to afford an attorney, and I was able to come on a plane and not on foot, it cannot be underestimated. And don't get me wrong, as an immigrant, you're willing to fight and to earn the right to be a citizen of this great country because ironically, it is immigrants, it is these people that are coming from Central America, I have spoken to them, who still see this country as the beacon of freedom and democracy. And it is a country where I came here 10 years ago. English isn't my first language. I didn't have any connections, no green card. And 10 years later, I'm able to sit in this table with some of the finest journalists in the country. That is only possible in the United States of America. But when the president tweets about an infestation, about this invasion, painting these people as a sort of horde that is coming to make America brown, that it is somehow okay to take their children, it dehumanizes all of us, including the legal immigrants.
And your reporting at the border has been amazing. What has it been like covering this story, given your personal connection with the issue?
As a Latina, Mika, as a woman, talking to these mothers and children, and as an immigrant, it's been very personal and heartbreaking. I've focused on both sides of the border. What happens to these families, even when reaching the border, they're already coming here traumatized. Honduras is, the #1 cause of death for young people younger than 18 is gang violence. And then I focused on what do the smugglers do to these people as they come over. Many of them get beaten, raped, extorted. I found out that the going rate for a Central American to be brought over is between $10,000 and $15,000 per person. They pay half of it up front, and then when they cross the border or cross the finish line, they have to keep paying this off for years and years. And for these people, their word is so important to them that the smugglers know they're going to pay it off. But the Border Patrol agents that I was embedded with told me, unlike drugs and other illegal substances that we seize, these people that are seen as product by these smugglers is the only commodity that we send over back to them so they can be extorted over and over and over again.
Mariana Atencio, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.